I hope they haven't found me, which I doubt. This is my very first podcast, so if you did just so happen to come across this before our draft, I'm still going to beat you if anybody in my league is listening to this. Welcome YouTube to PPTV. I'm your host, the Black Mamba. It's early morning, August 27th, pre-draft day. This is episode number 1, and today starts my fantasy journey here on YouTube. So I'll be sharing my thoughts and my fantasy moves as the season goes through, and I just want to document my season so we can look back at this year and have fun and look at all the bad picks that were made and the good picks, and lament on some of the picks that nobody ever thought would come to fruition of making a fantasy championship team. These will be solely my thoughts. This is for entertainment purposes only. So don't use your rent money. Don't use your car note money. We're here to have fun. Tomorrow starts my journey with this fantasy season. It's going to be my first fantasy draft. And just like every year, I haven't done any kind of preparation for this. So we're doing a cram course this morning, early morning. It's almost 2 in the morning where I am. My draft is at 7:30. And I'll be the number 10 pick. So just going to kind of see who I think will be available, who I'll be targeting, and, if anybody's slipping, maybe I can get players that are going to be drafted higher fall to me. But otherwise, I want to make sure that I'm on top of my game, and I'm picking the players with the best value for me. And if anyone is drafting number 10, anybody watching this drafting number 10, this could be a good strategy for you as well. After the draft, I'll come back and see how close I came to the players that I was targeting and how the back end of the draft went. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. I have the number 10 pick. So, with number 10, I'm targeting picking Bijan Robinson as my number 1 pick with the Atlanta Falcons. Reasoning behind why I'm picking Bijan is because for my number 1 running back, I tend to like to go with the workhorse, somebody that's going to be on the field all 3 downs, and a team that likes to run. So he fits the criteria of everything that I'm looking for in a number 1 running back, as well as the coach kind of follows that philosophy as well. I don't know if anybody watches the Falcons, but they can be down by 21 points in the third quarter, and they're still running the ball. So that's what I would like in my number 1 running back. That's who I'm targeting. If for some reason Bijan is not available, my number 2 and 3 picks would be Saquon Barkley. He had a bounce back year last year, did really well, and I really like the coach, and I think that this year they'll build off of what they started last year. They've added a few new pieces. They've been able to gel together from last year to this year, so I expect him to be a much more integral part of the offense this year. So he would come in as my number 2 pick if I can't get Bijan. If for some reason both those players are off the board when it comes to me at number 10, I'll like to hope that Nick Chubb is available. And I like Chubb because he's pretty durable, and he won't have anybody to vulture any of his carries this year since Kareem Hunt is no longer there. So I like Chubb as the number 3 backup in case I don't get the first 2 guys. So that's my first round pick. If for some reason one of these players were to fall to me, I would probably go with them before any of these 3 picks that I'm going with, and that is Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I'm almost 100% sure these guys will be gone by the time it's time for me to pick at number 10. If for some reason they are available, I would go with the wide receiver, but chances of that happening are going to be slim to none. This is a pretty mature league, and guys have been drafting in this league for quite some time, so I do foresee those guys being gone. So, just to recap, at number 10 for round 1, Bijan would be my number 1 choice. Saquon is my number 2 choice, and Nick Chubb would be my number 3 choice. So, rolling around to round 2, I'm going with a different philosophy this year. Most years, I like to go running back for the first and the second round, but this year I think I can go with a wide receiver, a high-end wide receiver, and come back and go with a running back in maybe round 5 is what I'm gonna target. So for round 2, I have a plethora of receivers that I'm looking at that I plan to draft in round 2 and 3. And those receivers that I have targeted are Amon-Ra St. Brown with Detroit, Devontae Adams with Los Angeles Raiders. I said Los Angeles. Scratch that. That's the Nevada Raiders. And I like A.J. Brown as well for round 2 as a round 2 pick. Garrett Wilson with the Jets, T. Higgins with Cincinnati, and Calvin Ridley with the Jaguars. So all of those guys I'm kind of targeting for round 2 as well as round 3. What I look for in my number 1 receiver is a receiver that is most of the time a number 1 receiver, or in this case, a 1A receiver in T. Higgins. And my reasoning being for that is Cincinnati he's in a high-powered offense, so he'll get just maybe not as many targets as Chase, but he'll get enough targets to the point that you can see him as a number 1 receiver. So that's my reasoning for having T. Higgins ranked so high on my draft board. So I like to go with a receiver that's gonna get in, that's gonna garner anywhere from maybe 7 to 10 targets a game, and has a lot of upside for catching touchdowns. So as far as round 3, those are the same players that I'll be targeting for my round 3, and hopefully I'll be able to snipe 2 of those for round 2 and 3. So going to round 4, this is where it kind of goes off of what everybody else is doing in the draft. Maybe there'll be a run on quarterbacks. If so, I have a short list of quarterbacks that I like for my number 1 quarterback. Number 1 is Jalen Hurts. I have him as my number 1 quarterback. I like his ability to be able to run the ball. as well as throw. I think he'll be able to have a high upside for touchdowns, rushing as well as passing. And he's not prone to get hurt running. I normally don't like a running quarterback, but Jalen, he tends to be a smarter quarterback when it comes to running. He doesn't actually look for a lot of contact. My number 2 target for quarterback in round 4 would be Justin Herbert. Just love his style. A true pro-style quarterback, and he has the ability to throw for 300 yards before halftime. So I like the fact that he's gonna. The offense is pretty much centered around him. He'll be able to throw the ball at will for the most part, and his chances of getting anywhere from 250 to 300 yards a game. He has a very high upside for that. Not to mention he's got a good caliber of receivers as well as a good running back who can catch the ball out of the backfield. My number 3 target for quarterback is going to be Joe Burrow. I like Cool Hand Joe. He's the same. He's has a high upside to get 250 to 300 yards a game. I had him last year, and actually I've had him for the last 2 years, and he's done very well. His upside. There's no limit to his upside. He can throw points on the board for you. So I like Joe as a quarterback that I'll be targeting as well. If for some reason I miss out on those top 3 quarterbacks, I like Trevor Lawrence to actually turn a corner this year. I like what he did last year. He actually was able to piece together a few games where he looked like he was going to be maybe a top 10 quarterback. So with that said, I like the pieces that they put around him. They brought in Calvin Ridley this year to be able to catch a few passes from him. So he'll be one of my on my back end if for some reason I don't get any of those first 3 guys. That he'll definitely be one of the guys that I'll be targeting. So if there's a run on quarterbacks, or whenever there's a run on quarterbacks, I'll be targeting one of those 3 guys, and whichever one falls to me, I'll be happy. I'll be happy with that pick. So that'll be round 4. So after round 4, I think I'll be ready to jump back into getting a running back. At running back, my number 2 running back tends to be someone who he won't be a 3-down back. Unless you get lucky with someone in the 5th round. Normally the high caliber running backs have already gone by this time. In round 5, you're just kind of stacking your flex type running backs. I hope and I think that these 3 running backs will be available in round 5. These are the 3 running backs that I will be personally trying to scoop up. The first one being J.K. Dobbins. J.K. has a lot of upside. I've had him in. I know I had him last year. I can't remember if I had him the year before. My only concern with him is his durability and his, how healthy he can stay throughout the year and remain on the field. But that's my number 1 running back. My number 2 running back, if J.K. is not available, will be Rashad White. So I like Rashard. This will be his second year. The offense itself, I'm not really counting on the Buccaneers to put a lot of points on the board, but I do expect him to kind of shine this year. They've kind of opened the doors for him. They got rid of Leonard Fournette this year, so I think he has a lot of upside. I think he has like low running back 1 potential or high running back 2, but he's my number 2. He's my number 2 target in round 5 if for some reason J.K. Dobbins is gone. If both of those guys are gone, then I'm looking at Alexander Madison with the Vikings. This is his year. They got rid of Dalvin Cook, so he has no one in front of him anymore, and he's the man now. So I like what he can offer. I think he would be a solid number 2 with that offense. You have Justin Jefferson, whose defenses they'll be kind of game planning to stop him, and I think Madison will be able to get his share of yards on the ground. So those are my 3 picks in round 5. Round 6, I want to go ahead and solidify my tight end position, and I only have one tight end that I'm really targeting throughout this draft. So I may have to switch this strategy up depending on if there's a run on tight ends, or if I feel like like somebody may try to scoop him in the 4th or 5th round. My number 6, my 6th round pick will be a tight end. I plan to pick Darren Waller. I really love this guy. I really love the fact that he is going to New York, and the coaching staff there seems to be very competent. They had the same team 2 years ago, and last year the offense was night and day different. Daniel Jones turned the corner, and he went from a guy that was almost off the team, maybe holding the clipboard, to somebody who is now signing an extension, and maybe not a franchise quarterback, but he's definitely a quarterback that can hold his own and get out there and do whatever the coaches need for him to do. So with that being said, I really like what Darren Waller will be able to offer, and he's my one and only pick that I don't have a backup plan for. Somehow, some way, I gotta make sure I get him. So I hope that there is nobody that's in my league listening to this. I hope they haven't found me, which I doubt. This is my very first podcast, so if you did just so happen to come across this before our draft, I'm still going to beat you if anybody in my league is listening to this. So those are my first 6 picks, and what I plan to do is after the draft, just come back and we'll look at how my draft fared, because I know after the 6th pick, after round 6, then everything just kind of gets willy-nilly, and you just kind of had to go with the flow, and whoever's available, you have to make the best pick available. So with that said, I'll come back. We'll go over my draft picks, kind of give me a rating or a grade on how things went, how it did, and let's count on kicking some butt this year. I hope that the information that I give you guys is top-notch information, and it's on point, and it'll set you apart from your from the managers in your league. With that being said, thanks for listening to me in my very first podcast, and I'll be back soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Black Mamba out.